Hi everyone, you're with Tesla Tom and thank you for watching Ludicrous Feed. Today I'm going to teach you how to get the best out of your Tesla Powerwall 2. The first slide I want to show you is the energy usage for my house yesterday. As you can see, the dark grey shaded area, that vertical line between the hours of 2 and 8 p.m. is my expensive peak period, and that is the area that I want to avoid using electricity because that is the most expensive part of the day. And I'll teach you in this video how to avoid using electricity during that time with the aid of the Powerwall 2. This next slide shows you how expensive electricity is here in New South Wales. As you can see, during the peak hours between 2 and 8 p.m, it is at 59.4 cents per kilowatt hour. Shoulder is between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m, and between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on weekdays. That's not too bad at 25.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And then off-peak times is every other time between then. So between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. it's 16.5 cents per kilowatt hour. So if I'm not using solar power or charge saved from the Powerwall 2, my aim is to use electricity during that off-peak time when it is cheapest for me. I've added in this next slide the cost of the electricity combined with the graph shown by Powerwall 2. As you can see, in that dark grey shaded area, between 2 and 8, it's 59.4 cents. The shoulder period on either side is a lighter grey area, and it's 25.3 cents. And then outside that shaded grey areas, it's off-peak at 16.5 cents. So as you've seen in this graph here, I've done my very best to use electricity during those off-peak times when it is cheapest. So my recommendation to you is that if you've got a Powerwall 2 here in Australia or anywhere else in the world, is to get yourself onto a time of use plan. That way you can take advantage of off-peak rates when it is cheapest, and then use solar power and stored electricity in your Powerwall 2 when it is more expensive. I'm going to read to you from the Tesla website on the Powerwall 2's capabilities. The Powerwall is able to prioritize charging and discharging based on its advanced software and intelligent forecasting. It can save energy capacity to charge from a high priority source later in the day, and this is the most important part. Similarly, it will maintain energy to discharge to a higher priority destination later in the day. The following table shows Powerwall's energy dispatch priority based on operating mode. Today I want to focus on the last area, which is advanced, time-based control, balanced. Use stored solar to power your home when electricity is expensive and after the sun has gone down. So charging priority is that it charges from solar, and discharging priority is, first of all, it will use the Powerwall 2 or discharge the Powerwall 2 during peak hours, followed by shoulder, followed by off-peak. If you go to your Powerwall 2 app, if you're on a time of use plan, I recommend that you go to the advanced setting, and then you can set your reserve for power outages. Now I set mine at 10%, and then go to edit price schedule, and then you can add in the times when electricity is expensive at peak times, then off-peak times, and then the grey area is the shoulder. So go ahead in your Powerwall 2 app and do that, and that way the Powerwall 2 will know when to discharge and when not to discharge. Now I'm going to start the day at 7:30, which is when I recorded this first video. As you can see, my reserve was at 10%, so it is starting its charge at 10%. This next video shows you at 7 o'clock, when it's only at 10% charge, that it's prioritizing the charge to the Powerwall 2 rather than powering the home. So as you can see, the solar is going to the Powerwall 2 while the grid is powering my house. It's at shoulder prices, so it's not too expensive at this stage. Well, the next video is at 8:44 a.m. As you can see, there's a bit more sun in the sky. The solar panels can produce at 1.5 kilowatts, so the Powerwall 2 knows there's enough energy to charge the Powerwall 2 and also power the home at the same time. I guess this is based on the quote-unquote intelligent forecasting. Now this is at 11:41, and it's pretty similar. There's a bit more sun in the sky again. So once again, the Powerwall 2 knows you can power the home as well as charge the Powerwall 2 at the same time. Bit of a snapshot of this stage showing that there's been quite a bit of charge from the solar power panels. We're still in the shoulder period, charging quite nicely, and it's 42% at 11:41. So from experience, this is a late autumn's day. It's currently late May, so we know that there's probably about as much charge as I'll get from my 3 kilowatt system. And from experience, this is enough to get me through the expensive peak period, which I will show you in a second. This next video shows the time at 4 o'clock. Everybody's starting to come home during the day to do their bits and pieces with their cooking, cleaning, bathing. The heater's going to come on because it's colder now in Sydney. The Powerwall 2 is starting to discharge, as you can see in this slide. Now this next slide gets more interesting. It's now about 5 o'clock. Now this is kind of peak electricity usage in my household. That dark shaded area is where I wanted to avoid using the grid. As you can see, the Powerwall 2 has done its best. The grid has stopped supplying the house basically when peak period has come on at 2 o'clock, which is great. It's discharging now at 3.2 kilowatt from the Powerwall 2 at 5 o'clock, which is about right. Things are starting to turn on. The heater takes up a lot of energy. Washing machine might be on as well at the same time. Lots of things going on in the house. And I'll show you a couple of snapshots here from electricity usage. As you can see, the Powerwall 2, which is in green, is starting to discharge in that grey area, which is the expensive peak period. The sun has gone down pretty much at 5 o'clock. But more importantly, there's been no grid usage in that time. At 5 o'clock, it's discharging at 32%, which is good. And now we're getting towards the end of the day at 9 o'clock. The electricity usage has come down a bit. 0.3 kilowatt from the Powerwall 2 to the home. We're getting close to that 10% reserve, which is fine because we're heading towards 10 o'clock, which is off-peak usage. And I'm not too fussed at that stage because electricity is becoming cheaper. Just a quick reminder for this tariff slide, which I combined with my Powerwall 2 usage. So as you can see, after 10 o'clock, it's started to get cheap at 16.5 cents. We've certainly avoided during the day when it was 59.4 cents between 2 and 8 o'clock, which is great. That was the whole intention of getting the Powerwall 2 to offset expensive usage during peak times. And again, a couple of quick snapshots from my Powerwall 2 usage. This is a combined picture with the usage, solar power, Powerwall 2 usage, and also grid usage. Let's break it down. As you can see, I've taken away the usage chart in blue. So now we can see that during that expensive grey area, the Powerwall 2 discharged a lot when everybody's home using electricity. But most important of all, there is no grid usage in that time, given that it's the most expensive period of the day at 60 cents per kilowatt hour. So as you can see, with careful management, you can certainly use your Powerwall 2 to your advantage by not letting the grid power the home in expensive times, using the grid smartly and wisely at a time when electricity is cheapest. In summary, if you've got a Powerwall 2, get onto a time of usage plan with your electricity provider. Use the advanced mode in the Powerwall 2 app, as I described earlier. Fill in your peak and off-peak times in that price schedule, and you'll see that the Powerwall 2 is smart enough to not use the grid during that expensive period, the off-peak times, and you'll find that it's a very useful device to have in your home. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. It's a lovely day here in Sydney. Hope it's lovely where you are, and as always, happy charging.
Hey, thanks for watching, and thank you for helping us to bring the electric vehicle revolution to Australia. If you've enjoyed our videos, please take a moment to hit subscribe. We would really appreciate it. If you're close to buying a brand new Tesla, then lucky you. Use one of our promo codes on screen to unlock special goodies from Tesla. Happy charging!